So, here's the thing. Prince Harry's trip to Angola was supposed to be a touching tribute, a thoughtful nod to his late mother, Princess Diana. He probably imagined headlines like Prince Harry follows in Diana's footsteps, and photos of him walking through a cleared minefield, just like she once did. Simple, safe, respectful. But instead, it turned into a complete mess. Not only did it stir up criticism online, but even Angelina Jolie's name got dragged into it. And whenever Angelina steps back from something for moral reasons, people tend to pay attention. This story quickly went from royal goodwill to what is going on here. Harry visited Angola with the Halo Trust, a landmine clearing charity that Princess Diana supported during her lifetime. Back in the 90s, Diana made headlines for walking through an active minefield, bringing attention to a dangerous problem no one really wanted to talk about. Her visit helped push real change, so when Harry did the same thing, it was clearly meant to echo that powerful moment. The message was clear: I'm continuing my mother's work, and that would have been fine. If that was the full story, here's where things took a turn. Back in 2015, Angelina Jolie publicly stepped away from the Halo Trust. Not because she was bored or ready to move on. She left because she found out the charity's trustees were paying themselves £500 a day. Yes, £500 a day, just for doing an internal review. That added up to more than £180,000. Angelina wasn't quiet about it either. She quit because she didn't like where the money was going. She didn't trust the leadership. It just didn't sit right with her. And now, years later, Harry is seen walking through the same minefields for the same charity. Naturally, people started connecting the dots. Here's what made people even more suspicious: timing. Right when Harry was on this feel-good humanitarian trip, he was also in the middle of a legal battle with the Daily Mail. A court had ordered him to release financial records related to the case, especially around money being sent to potential witnesses. So while his lawyers were back in court answering tough questions, Harry was out smiling for cameras in Angola. Coincidence? Maybe. But to a lot of people, it looked like a distraction. A carefully timed PR move to shift the focus from a courtroom to a minefield. And that didn't go unnoticed. If the goal was to clean up his image and remind everyone of his mother's compassion, it didn't work. In fact, it did the opposite. Now people were talking about Angelina Jolie's resignation, Halo Trust's money problems, and Harry's lawsuit all in the same breath. Instead of gaining sympathy or admiration, Harry was getting side-eyed. Did you not do your research? Or do you just not care? And it's not like this is the first time Harry's charity work has raised eyebrows. People have pointed out similar issues with the Invictus Games, and even his and Meghan's Archewell Foundation. There have been questions about how the money is being used, who really benefits, and whether Harry's actually involved beyond the press releases. So now, every time Harry tries to do something good, it feels off. People are no longer giving him the benefit of the doubt. Instead of fixing his image, these efforts seem to be making it worse. Now let's talk about the comparison that really hurt. Angelina Jolie versus Prince Harry. Jolie has spent decades doing humanitarian work, often without cameras, without fanfare, without press conferences. When she saw something wrong with Halo Truce, she didn't try to spin it. She didn't make it about herself. She simply left. That quiet integrity, people respect it. Harry, on the other hand, walked right into that same organization, posed for the cameras, and delivered speeches about hope and compassion, all while ignoring the very real concerns that had already been raised. And that contrast, it was loud. It also raises a bigger question. Is Harry trying too hard to be like Diana? He's followed her footsteps. Every time he's in the public eye, he seems to reference her legacy, especially when he's under pressure or facing backlash. But here's the problem. Diana never had to prove herself the way Harry does now. She didn't have a mountain of bad press or ongoing lawsuits hanging over her. Her compassion felt authentic. Her efforts were bold, yes, but also humble and personal. Harry, he's got a team of PR people, professional photographers, and a string of public controversies. So when he does something Diana once did, it feels more like a recreation than a continuation. And the deeper people dig into Halo Trust, the worse it gets. That £180,000 payout to just 2 trustees during their own internal review, it still doesn't sit right with the public. It sounds less like accountability and more like rewarding yourself. It's like grading your own test and giving yourself an A+. And even if the organization claims it was all above board, the damage is already done. Once trust is broken, it's hard to rebuild, especially when big names like Angelina Jolie have already walked away. Here's here's something people forget. Public trust is fragile. It takes years to build and only seconds to break. And for someone like Prince Harry, who's already been in the spotlight his entire life, you'd think he'd understand that by now. But it seems like every time he tries to fix his image, he skips the part where you rebuild trust through honesty, consistency, and transparency. Instead, he leans into big, flashy gestures, photo ops, interviews, speeches, and hopes that people will just forget the messy part. Spoiler, they don't. People aren't as easy to impress as they were 10 years ago. This isn't the early 2000s when a royal baby or a charity gala made headlines and instantly boosted reputations. Now, the public digs. They investigate. They ask questions. They compare timelines. They pull receipts. It's like the internet has turned everyone into an amateur detective. And once they start seeing patterns like how Harry always seems to show up with a camera crew right when he's dealing with bad press, they don't unsee them. That's what's happening here. The Halo Trust visit could have been a powerful statement, but instead, it was seen as just another move on the public relations chessboard, a calculated distraction, a way to soften the blow of his court case without ever really addressing the bigger issues. And when people feel manipulated, they push back hard, because trust isn't just about looking good in a vest and saying all the right words. It's about what you do when no one's watching. It's about choosing the hard, honest path of in when it doesn't come with applause or magazine covers. The thing is, Harry didn't have to visit Halo Trust. He could have picked another cause, a fresh organization, something without the baggage, without the headlines, without Angelina Jolie's name attached. But he didn't. He chose the path that looked familiar, the one that mirrored his mother's, the one that came with built-in nostalgia and emotional appeal. And maybe he thought that would be enough. But what he didn't count on was that people have changed. They've grown more aware, more careful, more tuned in to what's real and what's just spin. And when the public feels like you're playing a role instead of living a truth, they tune out. Or worse, they call you out. It's also not just about this one moment. It's the cumulative effect. The lawsuits, the Netflix deals, the privacy contradictions, the charity confusion, it's all building up. And each time Harry tries to wipe the slate clean, another layer of doubt gets added instead. At this point, even when he does something with good intentions, people hesitate. They wonder, what's the angle? And once the public starts asking that question, the damage is already done. That's why this Halo Trust trip didn't land the way he hoped. Because instead of bringing people closer to him, it reminded them of everything they're still uncomfortable with. And when your reputation already feels shaky, the last thing you want to do is remind people why they stopped trusting you in the first place. Now, let's be fair. Maybe Prince Harry really did have good intentions with this trip. Maybe he looked at Angola and thought, this is where my mother made a difference. This is where I can do the same. Maybe, in his heart, he wanted to help. Maybe this wasn't about damage control or headlines maybe. He just thought it was the right thing to do. And you know what? That's possible. But here's the truth. Good intentions don't always equal good results. Especially when you're a public figure, especially when you've been under fire for months or years, especially when everything you do is filtered through media coverage, social media commentary, and millions of eyeballs online. In Harry's case, the execution didn't match the intention. He stepped into a situation that was already messy and controversial. Halo Trust, the money issues, the Angelina Jolie resignation, and he didn't address any of it. Not once. No statement. No acknowledgement, nothing to show that he understood the baggage he was stepping into. That silence. It spoke volumes. Because when you support a cause, especially one with a rocky history, people expect you to do your homework. They want to know that you stand behind it because you believe in it, not because it makes for a nice photo shoot. And Harry, whether he realized it or not, made it look like he was using the charity to clean up his own image. That's why the backlash hit so hard. Because if he had gone somewhere new, someplace, without controversy, this story might have played out very differently. Instead, he aligned himself with an organization that had already lost public trust, and he did it without even explaining why. No context, no transparency, just pictures of him in a vest, walking through a minefield, smiling at kids, and giving speeches about peace. To some, it looked polished. To others, it looked performative. And that's a word no celebrity or royal wants attached to their name, because once people start believing that your good deeds are just part of a strategy, the message gets lost. The meaning disappears, and what's left is doubt. You don't need a big scandal for people to turn on you. You just need enough little missteps to build a pattern. And right now, Harry's pattern looks like this. Say you want privacy, then sign huge media deals. Say you want healing, then launch lawsuits. Say you care about real causes, then align with questionable charities. Even if his heart is in the right place, his choices keep sending mixed signals. And in the world of public opinion, mixed signals equals mistrust. People want to believe in causes. They want to believe that celebrities and royals are using their platforms for good, but they also want consistency, honesty, clarity, not smoke and mirrors. And let's be honest, Harry has the resources to do it right. He has teams, advisors, If he'd asked the hard questions about Halo Trust, if he had acknowledged the issues publicly, or even made a small statement saying he was aware of the past but committed to transparency going forward, this could have been a very different story. But he didn't. And that's the issue. It's not that people expect perfection, they just expect awareness, accountability, a little humility, especially from someone who says he's trying to change the world. Instead, Harry keeps running headfirst into these moments, hoping the audience claps while ignoring all the red flags waving in the background. And the sad part, it doesn't have to be this way. He could turn it around, he could reset. He could shift his approach, drop the glossy, overly managed optics, and actually speak to people honestly, directly, with sincerity. That's what Princess Diana did. That's why people loved her. And that's what Harry seems to be missing every time he tries to follow in her footsteps. In the end, it's not about who can recreate Diana's legacy better. It's not about who wears the Halo Trust vest best. It's about values, about credibility, about standing for something real even when no one's watching. Angelina Jolie didn't throw a press conference when she left Halo Trust. She didn't pose for photos. She saw something unethical and quietly walked away. That's what people respect Harry. He did the opposite. He walked in with cameras rolling, hoping to control the narrative, but he ended up reminding the world just how much public trust he's already lost. And when it comes to humanitarian work, credibility matters more than branding. And sometimes, saying nothing at all, just wadding away, is the loudest statement of all.